In America's Last Best Hope, not your most recent book, you write that, quote, Americans seem ready to believe the worst about our leaders. And in your most recent book, The Book of Man, you discuss what you call the rise of the anti-hero, whose good deeds are viewed as the result of low, self-interested, egoistic motives. What's happened to Americans' appreciation for heroes and our capacity for hero worship, which isn't necessarily always a good thing, but without which there seems to be a terrible sterility and narrowness to our souls?
Well, I think having heroes is part of knowing where you want to go, aspirations, and so we make of certain people our heroes. Say, I would like to be like that man, be like that woman, and that's how we give it flesh and blood, as Shakespeare would say, give to abstraction a habitation and a name.
Yes.
I saw a poll, this was 78, saying that the person teenagers most wanted to be like or most respected, came out number one in this poll, was the drummer for Kiss. I said, well, it turns out these guys are on Fox News all the time.
Yes, right, yes.
Conservative heroes.
Unsuspected depth.
I didn't know, well, at least unsuspected correctness on some things. But I thought we could do better than that.
Right.
So I wrote this essay, and I remembered the heroes I had as kids. And they were a mix and melange, like it is for a lot of kids. I mentioned in the course of this essay Jonathan Netanyahu, Benjamin's brother, who was a philosophy student at Harvard. You may have known him. I didn't know him, but he left and went back to Israel, and of course was on the raid at Entebbe and stood in the breach while everyone was rescued and got on the helicopter. He stood there and held back the bad guys and was killed in the process. I said, no, that's a real hero, someone we revere for his acts.
But what's the diagnosis? Why is it that we've lost this capacity? Is it the problem in our schooling, or is it
partly
a larger intellectual problem?
I think it's partly a cultural pattern, a cultural habit. I don't know where it started. Some of it, this material better than I do, but Charles Beard and the revisionists and the revisionist accounts of American history. Yes. What I called, I think in this essay, the aha theory. Well, you think people are good and decent and noble and true, but aha, they really have some motive. Oh, these founders were really planters, and they really just wanted to set up this system that would reward them, and
that's
so
right.
on. Yeah. And the basest motives are always the true motives, and the highest motives are never true. But there's a sense in which, what's the assumption? That if you believe in heroes, if you believe in ideals, if you believe in God, if you believe in America, you're a little sappy, so you're a little down market, if you're patriotic and hold these patriotic heroes up, it's kind of a down market commodity. And I think that's very destructive and very bad, and also very wrong. This week, I am on the radio going to talk a lot about a man named Frank Hall. Frank Hall is this huge assistant line coach at Chardon High School in Chardon, Ohio. Yes. And when most other people were kind of trying to figure out what to do or hiding, this man walked down the hall, confronted this young killer of his classmates, and said, "What are you doing? Get out of here," and chased him out of the building. Now, the boy had a gun, but this guy is imposing and spoke with authority and carries the authority only a football coach can carry. I know about that.
He's a substantial man.
Yeah,
yes.
But a guy without, as George Eliot might say, a guy without any profound doubts about right and wrong. He wasn't trying to psychoanalyze the kid, just stop the mayhem. This is a hero. Now, he spoke at press conference at the high school, and first thing he said, I think the very first thing he said was, "I'm not a hero." Right. They always do, good guys. He just said, "I just did what anyone would have." Well, actually not. He did what no one else would have. Well, maybe someone else would have stepped up. Then, by the way, at the end of this, just a comment, he said, "I'd like to read something from Matthew." He read from the Bible. And I could see in the picture on TV, there were people, the high school administration were very uncomfortable with this. He was reading from the Bible.
Committing an unconstitutional
at a memorial service. There you go.
Right.
But they're there. And I think, one of the things, whether you're talking about American history or life, is to try to find the heroes who were there in the building of this country, in the maintaining of this country, and in everyday life, and they are around.
Right. That presupposes that this is an honorable country, of course. And much of the debunking attitude towards heroes has to do with debunking America, doesn't it?
People understand the need for value in their lives. They understand the need for intimacy. They understand the need for respect, admiration, heroism. And so more and more, I think people retreat to the private sphere for that. They say, well, I will get my kicks, I will get my ideals, I will get my satisfaction, my deep satisfactions in life from family and from church and from neighborhood, but perhaps not from politics. How many people, adults, conservative or liberal or moderate, have you heard say, I'd really like my kids to go into politics? Very few, fewer and fewer,
Extremely
I think.
few, yeah.
My wife is maybe the only one left, and I'm not sure myself, because I've been in it, and I know what happens. But my wife has said, I hope both my boys go into politics. It's a very unusual statement, because we have so trashed the currency.
Yes. And that is not peculiar to America, I think. I think there's a general atmosphere of moral indifference and cynicism that pervades a lot of Western culture, for sure, in Europe as well as in America.
I agree with that, but it's more, don't you think it's more of a violation of our sense of things than Europeans? When Tocqueville talked about the difference between us and them, there was this moral sense, this idealistic sense. For us, we're giving up something which is part of us,
yes,
which is that idealism and that optimism.
Yes, that aspiration.
We believe in the Federalist Papers the belief that we can improve the condition of man, that we actually can make things better, and we have.
Yes, governments by reflection and choice,
That's
not
correct.
just necessity and force.
Right.